for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices. Or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
If you have an idea for a show and want to get involved, email info@salamradio.co.uk.
Hello, welcome to Winning Women with your host Iram Shah on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. We've had a break and it's really good to come back. Hope you've all had a good couple of weeks. This is a show where we champion inspiring women, and today I have with me a local entrepreneur born and raised in Peterborough. She started a career in construction but has now moved on to selling tea varieties and handmade embroidery. Please help me welcome Taz, who's also known as a tea lady. Hello, Taz.
Oh, hiya, you okay?
Yes, Taz, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. Taz, can you take our listeners back to your time in construction so we can build a picture of how you started your journey in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, sure. So I left school at 16 and didn't really know what I wanted to do with, like most people who leave school don't know what to do with their lives. And so there was a job available at a local consulting engineering firm in Warrington, and it was just doing admin work. And so my plan was I was going to be there for just the summer. But I ended up being there for 5 years.
Oh, right.
And in my time, I went to college one day a week, and I did an NVQ in business admin, and I did my ONC in civil engineering and my HNC in building studies.
Right.
And then I knew I wanted to do a degree because no woman in my mum's side of the family had done a degree at that time. So the place where I was working, they weren't able to offer me being able to go and do my degree in the area that I wanted to do. So I left full-time work to go to university to do my degree in construction management.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first degree, and then I got a job with a major contractor that were based in Wisbech at the time, and I was there for a few months and then said, I wanted to go back to university because I wanted to do another degree. So I took sabbatical for 8 months and went back to university and did as many modules as I could do as a full time. And then
in construction.
My second degree was architectural venue design and digital innovation.
Right, so staying with the construction theme.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So after that I went back to work full time, and then I was studying as well, and then finished all that in 2010. 2010 is when I finished studying. And then, was in construction up until 2017 when I just knew that I wanted to just do something else. Construction's really hard anyway. It's like a lot of long hours, it's a lot of commuting, it's really difficult as a woman anyway, and especially if you're a person of colour, regardless of what is changing within the industry, there's still stigma there, and it's really hard to break it sometimes. And there's like a lot of the time I was feeling I can't be the only person with making the decisions, and it's really difficult because especially when you've been hired somewhere to not think, am I a diversity hire? You want to be employed for the right reasons, sure, rather than just making up the numbers.
Diverse numbers, right. Okay.
Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to do something else, and construction was getting, I was working, my last job I was supposed to be in Leeds for a few weeks, but I ended up being there for 18 months, and I loved working with the people and things and stuff like that, but it wasn't what I wanted to do as such. So I knew I just wanted to do something else. And
why do you think you were feeling like this, Taz? What was it about construction in particular that you that was starting to make you feel as if you need to have a change?
I think it was the long hours. That was definitely it. I was having like when I was working in Leeds, I was travelling most days, or I was staying up for the week, so I didn't really have a home life, and and that sort of thing was there. I was I was being overlooked for promotions, and I wasn't really getting the career development that I wanted. I felt like I was getting quite stagnant in what I was doing. So it just got to the point, and it was like my mental health was suffering because of the long hours and the strain it was putting on, relationships, friends, family, all those sorts of things. So I just needed I needed something else. I needed something to just so I think maybe I was going through probably a midlife crisis as well. So I think I needed something to really shake up my life, because it's what I'd done since I was 16 till what I was 33, I think. Yeah, 33. So I'd been doing this for nearly 20 years.
Oh, right.
And so it was there was no, that's all I'd known. There was nothing else apart from my little stints when I was working in retail when I was at uni. But other than that, that's all I'd known. So I think I just needed something different. And that's what it was, I think.
And then and then you've said that you had some challenges working in the construction field. How did you then transition into finding something to do then in terms of your in terms of your business in tea? How did you have some other ideas before, or did you just jump into this one?
No, well, you're supposed to, I suppose, have a business plan and all these sorts of ideas and things. I had none of this. So how this all came about was in 2013 we'd moved from Orton, the other side of Peterborough, to the centre of Peterborough, and I didn't really obviously I'd been born and raised in Peterborough, but I didn't know what was, things that were going on in the town centre, or any sort of groups or community groups or things like that to meet new people. Because obviously all my friends were based at my work, because I had no home life and things like that. So when I moved to another job that was based in the city, so I had a lot more free, up until I started commuting, but I had a lot more time, especially at the beginning when I moved jobs in the evening. And I found a local group, a craft group near in the city centre, and I met who's my friend, who's now one of my best friends, and we got talking in this group and everything. And anyway, so we got friends, and so she'd come around my house, and we would talk about the sort of, we'd sit with a cup of tea and we'd watch MasterChef. That was our favourite thing to watch. And we'd talk about the sort of things that we'd want to make. We'd go through Pinterest and have a look at what we wanted to make and things like that. And she was saying, this is what the ideal, my idea of a good night in is, cup of tea, real, with a friend, and and if we had something to craft, it'd be a really good evening, would be craft and tea would be very crafty, and I was oh, that's a really good name. And so I was I'm just going to write that down, and because I think, and it kept playing on my mind about this idea. And then I was saying to her that it'd be really good to have an opportunity where we if there was a space, a business that would offer these two things, because there isn't anything out there that does them both. And so I said, I'm just going to just see if there's a need for it, or if anyone else would be interested in it. And that's kind of where it grew from. It was really just a little small conversation that turned out into my business now. So
wow. And were you a fan of teas before? Were you embroidering before?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I was, but it, as most people do, it was just bog standard tea, and I was no, I don't tea's okay, but it's not wouldn't be my go-to type thing. But then I started doing a lot of research into loose leaf tea particularly, and especially where it came from, making sure it was ethical and sourced consciously and things like that. and then like when I was trying all these different loose leaf teas and going like realizing the flavors and the taste and all these different like aromas and stuff like you don't get from tea bags. And it was just like it's like I can't live without it now. It's like my favorite, it's like my favorite thing, and I absolutely love it. So you know, and there's all obviously the big things about like plastics in tea bags and all that sort of stuff. So you know, environmentally, you know, loose leaf tea is a lot better than tea bags anyway. But so that's kind of where my love for tea grew. Really, it was from from the business really.
And that's quite interesting. So you started attending, you know, you're having a bit of a career break. So you attended, you know, a local craft class, met a new friend, and then a new idea came about. How exciting!
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
Yeah. And then, so now, when you, what transferable skills have you gained from your time in construction that's helped you embark a career in business?
I think being like a woman in construction in a completely male-dominated industry, particularly a white male-dominated industry, you've got to like be like outspoken. You have to be able to speak your mind and you know, have conviction with what you say, and things like that. So those definitely are transferable, because when you start a new business you have to shout about your business because no one else will. So especially when you go to like, if you go to networking events, or if you do like, you know, anything like a craft fair or a market or anything like that, being able to talk to different people is really important, because obviously if you can't connect with potential customers, you're not going to have a business. So things like that are definitely transferable in terms of that, especially, but also because what I was doing was more like, it was like obviously project based and things like that in terms of timelines and having milestones and meeting deadlines. That's another thing that's transferable as well, like having been able to schedule things to certain times and being able to meet deadlines and and those sorts of things.
Yeah, because you would have had some project management experience as well. Is that
yeah,
okay.
Definitely.
Yeah, so that's helped you in the planning stages. Taz, I'm just going to take a break to remind our listeners about how they could join in. So if you're listening on Facebook or if you're listening on YouTube, then feel free to comment below, say hello, ask any questions. If you want me to put any questions forward to Taz, then please do so. Or alternatively, you can even call in. So on 01733 602 133. So I look forward to hearing from you. So yeah, that's quite interesting because you will be able to transfer those. And there's a lot of planning involved in construction, isn't there? So the project management side of things. And that's helped you. So have you really mapped out is everything planned out to your plan? Is everything up to now?
Oh no, nothing ever does. Nothing ever. It works out to a certain plan. So you know, the obviously last year was a complete shock to everybody, but so all of the events that I planned last year were cancelled, either postponed or aren't running at all anymore. So everything obviously shifted online, and because I'd already had like an online presence, I was very fortunate that customers could find me. If I didn't have that, then I think I would have really struggled. And I've been really fortunate in terms of the growth of my business last year, and it's helped me now through to this year as well. So I suppose you can plan as much as you can, but in terms of, you know, life throwing curveballs and things like that, you can't foresee every circumstance. But in terms of like having so like I did a lot of so my branding got redone last year for my labels, for my tea and for my embroidery kits, and we had I tried to work to deadlines for that and releasing new products and things like that. But it is difficult when you are on your own to like try and juggle all these things. So I'm looking at potentially like outsourcing maybe some of the day-to-day like running bits of the business, like so for example like customer service emails, or like scheduling posts on social media and those sorts of things that take you away from growing your business but they're important things to do, but obviously take some time out away from your day. But so that's the thing. So you can plan as much as you like, I guess, but sometimes life finds a way of scuppering those plans.
I know. And Taz, so you started your business online. Did you before that? Were you doing things offline, or did you launch online? Was that the model you followed, the e-commerce model?
So I've always had a website, and I'd recommend to anybody who hasn't, have some sort of online presence, definitely, whether that is just a Facebook or Instagram page, or if you're on Etsy or something. But I've always had my own website, but in the beginning stages, obviously I didn't have any people come to our website because they didn't know who I was. I wasn't running any paid for ads or anything like that. So I was going to a lot of like really small craft events or craft markets and spaces where you can just have a table for like £20 or something for the day, for the day. And that really helped at the beginning to get my name out there. It's a lot of work, obviously, in terms of taking the time to set it up and having the stock and everything. But it's those beginning events were helped build like a customer base and like a community, because also it gives you an idea of if you've got a business and you just want to test it out and you go to these events. Granted, they may not necessarily be your target audience, but you can speak to people and say, do you know somebody, if this isn't for you, do you know somebody that would be interested? And it's real good market research before you start pouring money into an idea that may not give you a return in the end.
Yeah, and it gets your name out there, doesn't it? And to be fair, you just don't know where where the opportunity lies, really. So if you may bump into somebody in a networking event, which could result in a sale, or it could result in a new opportunity, really. So and then after that, you started selling online. Tell us a little bit more about your e-commerce side of things.
Yes, so as soon as I started my business, I had a website of my own. So I didn't sell through anything like another third party. I didn't sell through Etsy or Amazon or anything like that. I've just purely focused on my own website. So I drive traffic to that, and it is hard because a lot of people think, oh well, I've built my website now, so people will come. But it won't. It's not. You're like a tiny little drop in a huge ocean full of websites, and especially when you're new, you've got to give it time for search engines to find you and get ranked in all these sorts of different areas, and and you've got to write blogs regularly and all these sorts of things to drive traffic there. But I've never been on sold through other businesses, other shopping platforms. But but I spend money every month to run my website, and I've got to drive the traffic there. If you use one like Etsy or Amazon or something, granted they take a huge commission out of a sale, but you don't have to worry about making sure the website's up and running. Make sure you're writing blogs to drive traffic there, because obviously people are just going there. You've just got to just concentrate on the products that you've got that are listed. So there's pros and cons for all of them, but I definitely 100% advocate to get an online presence and start building an email list and start trying to just get people there in however way you can, and however you do it, whether you go out and when you go to an event, give people leaflets so that if they want to buy something again, they can come to your website and you've got their information. And because I didn't do that originally, when I went to events, I had a leaflet, but I was never pushing people to go to our website to get their email address. And if I did, I was never emailing anybody, so nobody knew. That I was still going, for example. But now I try and regularly email my customers and new people who have signed up, just to let them know what I'm doing and what's about. And yeah, that's definitely something I would recommend doing.
And Taz, why do you think you weren't marketing? You've said if looking back, you would have done things differently. Why do you think you weren't doing that initially? What was going through your mind?
I think we all have a bit of self-doubt in terms of when we have something of our own, to therefore shout about it. And I think particularly women, we're very nervous about being vocal about what we're doing, because we've always been told to not brag about things, be demure about stuff and everything. And it's hard to break that sort of ingrained ideology that we have. So I think that was one of it. And especially, I registered my business in January 2017. I didn't make my first sale until July, because I didn't tell anybody that I was actually running a business. I didn't, I had a website, but I wasn't doing anything with it. I was, people who I worked with knew about it, but I was just buying stock and I wasn't really doing anything. We spend a lot of time trying to make sure everything's really perfect before we release everything.
Yes.
And but you've just got to get something out there. You've got to do like the minimum viable product that you've got, the minimum that you would be happy to sell something at, the terms of like the packaging and everything, what you're legally required to do as a minimum. I think we get too bogged down about thinking about, oh, maybe we just change that font, that will be a bit better, or I'll just give it another week while I can just do, change the colours or something. And I think that's what it was. I was just so nervous about, because what happens if I tell everybody and it all goes wrong? And I think that's what we're worried about. But no, there's not a lot of information out there to say that if you do something and it doesn't go right, it doesn't mean it's a failure. If you've identified that it's not working, for example, that's such a good thing to have, because you're not pouring money or your time or your energy into something that's not giving you a return on anything, whether it's money or connections or anything like that. So if it's something that you've said, right, okay, this isn't working for me, I now know what to do. I can use these skills to something else, and I know exactly what I'm doing. In that sense, that you get skills from however good or bad your experiences are with your own business, and I think that sort of thing needs to be spoken about more. About it's not a failure. It's just it just wasn't the right time, or it just wasn't the right business. Doesn't necessarily mean that you can't run another business, or you're a terrible entrepreneur or anything like that. It doesn't mean anything. It means you're actually quite a good one to notice these things, for example.
And you recognize that time when you weren't actually profiting. You said that you realized after about a few months that you need to really start shouting about your products, your services, what you can do. What was it exactly that you did that led to your first sale?
So I did. So my first sale was at a street party type thing near where I live, and it was like a stall. It was like a little community group that did it. It was like a £5 like table stall, and that's where my first sale was. I was just just speaking to somebody, and they bought some tea, and it was and that was my first instance of selling to somebody I didn't, or first selling experience in public to somebody I didn't know. That you speak to them, and you they give you feedback there and then, and some people are really harsh, like going, why would I bother, why is it so expensive, or things like that. And you learn to build up some sort of like not resilience, but you have like a little
you recognize the value probably in your product.
Exactly, and you explain to them what it is, and you're able to have like this list of like answers that you've like created over the time when you meet people, like what to say back to them, to say
overcome the objections and things.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
That's really good, Taz. And I think belief in your products and what you were doing, and did that give you a lot of confidence after that first sale? What was going through your mind after that? I mean, did that set a precedence, for you to continue with your marketing in the way that you had started to?
Yeah, definitely. I think I still was really conservative with what I did, because I was working full time still at that time. So it wasn't so much of a risk. And I think that's another thing where we get, anybody, any entrepreneur gets worried about is like the risk of like saying, oh, well, I don't want to go all in just in case it fails and I can't pay my bills, for example. So it was more like, it was just kind of like, I didn't really look about the numbers, and I didn't look at about in terms of, collecting the data and things, and things like that, because it wasn't my main focus. And that's where I think if I didn't start focusing on it or start to really push forward in terms of how to grow my business and how to make that next step, as in not to work full time, I wouldn't have been able to keep growing, because it would have literally just been like something on the side that wasn't really doing anything for me, but just being nice to just go out and talk to people.
So, and when did you? Okay, so when we come back, we're going to a break shortly, Taz. So do join us back when, and we'll find out when Taz made the decision to solely concentrate on her business, and we're going to find out a little bit more about how she landed on Oxford Street in London just this week. We're also going to learn a little bit more about Taz's product range. And a lot more. So do get involved by texting us on 07411 191 062 or call us on 01733 602 133. See you after the break on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
Everyone can now get free rapid COVID-19 tests twice a week. They show your results within 30 minutes. They also show you're doing what you can to protect your loved ones, your friends, your workmates, and that you want to keep life moving again. Around 1 in 3 people who have COVID-19 have no symptoms and are spreading it without knowing. That could be a friend, a relative, a workmate. It could even be you. Rapid tests are easy to get from nhs.uk/get tested. Let's take this next step safely.
Looking to improve your living space? Plan your dream home with AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms. We design, manufacture and install your perfect kitchen or bedroom to your personal space and taste, with clever storage utilising every inch. We pride ourselves on our exquisite attention to detail. Let AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms plan your perfectly tailored space, fitted around you. We also offer bespoke services for understairs storage, TV units and feature walls, all designed and manufactured by us. Call us now on 01733 686 767 or visit abjkitchensandbedrooms.co.uk. Open to the trade and public. AB Joinery Kitchens and Bedrooms, Unit 3 Brassy Close, Peterborough, PE1 2AZ. Plan your dream home with us. abjkitchensandbedrooms.co.uk.
Bowel cancer screening saves lives. If you're aged 60 to 74, the NHS will send you a free bowel cancer home testing kit every 2 years. Please complete the home testing kit when you receive it. It's easy and hygienic to use your kit, and it could save your life. Find out more by visiting Cambridgeshire and Peterborough ccg.nhs.uk and searching bowel cancer.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
Desi Restaurant is open, so why not order now for your family meal tonight? We've got fish pakora, chicken pakora, charga steamed chicken, lamb and vegetable samosas, biryani, pizza, faluda, jalebi, gulab jamun, samosa chaat, fresh chicken and lamb handi, Lahori channa and much more. We've got it all at Desi Restaurant. Special offer, Niari Opaya with 1 naan or roti only £6. Special lunchtime offer from noon to 4 p.m. Chicken or lamb curry and 2 roti only £6. Mixed veg curry or tarka dal and 2 roti only £5. Order now at desirestaurantonline.com and pay online safely, or call us on 01733 555 795. Delivery available, or you can collect for a 10% discount. 298 Lincoln Road, Peterborough, PE1 2ND. Desi Restaurant, the trusted family favourite in Peterborough.
This is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2.
Hello, welcome back to Winning. You're listening to Winning Women with Iram. We have with us a very special guest, Taz, the tea lady, as she's fondly known as. We're talking about her journey from construction to a business selling tea varieties and embroidery pieces. Do text us on 07411 191062 to get involved, or call us on 01733 602 133, or if you're listening to the live stream on Facebook or YouTube, you can comment. So do say hello, so I know you're listening in. Taz, hello. Hi, just before the break, we were talking about how you were juggling the two roles of in the business and working full time as well. When did you make the plunge and decide this is what you want to do, and you felt confident enough to leave your job?
So that was in July of 2017.
Right.
I think. Yeah, it was when I left full time work, and I didn't make the full plunge. I went I worked part time somewhere. So I worked part time in a business on the outskirts of Peterborough,
right,
for 3 days a week, because I wasn't there just yet to make the decision about going full time in my business. Again, it was all a bit kind of nerve wracking in terms of
I bet.
In terms of like really taking like the decision to go for it yourself. It is quite scary, especially when you've had the safety net of working full time for so long. And it's all like really up and down, and you have to be realistic in terms of what you can and can't afford and all these sorts of things. So it was like making the small changes to facilitate the longer goal into being full time at a point in my life. It just wasn't just then at that point. So yeah, I went part time to start with initially.
And then left. And then when you started, we talked about your e-commerce side, but you also, Taz, partnered up with local cafes to sell your tea as well. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is. So when I left full-time employment, I thought to myself, well, how am I going to get my name out there more to different people if they hadn't heard about me, or if they because there's only so many hours in the day that I could go to like markets, and markets are usually at the weekends anyway. So it was like, what could I do in those other days during the week? So I thought about potentially speaking to local businesses and trying to get them to swap to my teas from whoever they were to start off with. So it started off with a spa in the outskirts of Lincolnshire in Poynton. They were my first.
I know the one. Yes.
The Grange Spa. Yeah, yes. They took a punt on me, and so we're still, after all these years, we're still, in touch, and they still supply my teas and and things like that. So, and it was, they had the same sort of ethos, and they're like a small independent business as well. So obviously, because there's no point like looking for chain businesses, because they've obviously got agreements with existing suppliers, or they wholesale things, and in terms of margins, they're like really small. And when you start off with, like, people will always try and undercut you and things like that. And I did that to start with, and like trying to outprice other people, but you can't compete because you're only one person, and the terms of scale other businesses can provide the same product, for example, or similar product, should I say, is just, you can't compete with it, and it's soul destroying really. But you just have to just look for the ones that you connect with, and ones that understand your ethos and your business,
and are willing to work with you, right?
Yeah,
Willing to
exactly.
collaborate with you. So,
Yeah.
so when you choose these collaborations, what's the decision making process like? How do you decide who you want to collaborate with?
So I spend a lot of time looking for businesses that are like small, independent. You know, they don't have to be just, you know, one business. They could be like a couple of outlets or anything like that, but ones that have got the same sort of ethos as me. You know, if they're, you know, having consciously sourced items, whether that's fair trade or organic or you know, from other small growers, if that's something that they do, or that they focus on the environment in terms of like their packaging or what they offer. If they're like a local business, like I, you know, try and support as many, you know, local businesses as I can as well, because that's really important, because obviously we're not all in competition with each other. We can all, like, you know, we've all got to grow together to, like, so people know about us. You know, I've lived in Peterborough my whole life, and I've been in, you know, in business in Peterborough since 2017, and there are still people who haven't heard about me or don't know about me, and also don't know about the like smaller like cafes and restaurants, because they don't go out into the centre, or they don't take the time to go and investigate them. So it's all about working together and you know, being like mutual. It's like a mutual benefit for everybody. So
and I think this
so
platform allowed you to do that as well, just to raise your profile. So if anyone's listening in as well, you know, that's really the premise of it, to help raise you know, awareness of women-found businesses and inspiring women like yourself. So Taz, if somebody's listening in, what kind of people, what kind of businesses locally would you want to collaborate with? Is it cafes, or are you looking for something different?
Yeah, so like any sort of cafe, like small restaurants, you know, even like small community groups that hold like events, like in like village halls, and
that's an idea.
Yeah, those sorts of those sorts of things. Like I do a lot of talks for the Women's Institute as well at the minute. So you know, places where they hold their events, or like those sort of community groups would be someone that I'd, you know, be interested to talk to and collaborate with.
And how can people find you, Taz? On if you to let people know can you just spell everything out? How can they find you?
Sure. Yeah, so you can go on my website, which is verycrafty, which is verycraftea.co.uk, or you can find me on Facebook and Instagram as @verycrafty, which is the same. And I'm always on there, and you can message me, or just send me like a private message, and I'll try and always get back as soon as I can.
And Taz, for people listening outside of Peterborough, how can you collaborate with them?
Just send me a message, or there's on my website. There's you can email me. There's like a little contact me form. Just drop me an email, and I'll be able to get back in touch. Because I'm always looking to expand my reach outside of Peterborough, definitely.
Good. And then all of this has now led to you having your first pop-up shop in Oxford Street on Monday just gone. How was that?
It was such an experience. So I went Monday morning, left Peterborough just gone 6:30, and didn't get home till like 11:15 at night. So
really?
it was a long old day. But yeah, it was really nice to be out there and be like, you know, in the centre of London. And obviously, you know, the footfall's still a bit lower because of, you know, the times that we're in now, and the weather wasn't so great on Monday, but it was really nice to you know, speak to people, have my name there, get my name out on because I had like a little shop window to have the window display with everything in there, and meet all these different people that I wouldn't have necessarily met because obviously I'm based here. So no, it was a really good experience.
Good. And Taz, can you just tell the listeners a little bit more about how did the opportunity come about?
many like businesses online that set up to help small businesses, and one of them's called Enterprise Nation, and they offer a lot of online courses and talks and events that you can join virtually or in person. And they were they also had like a initiative, it's called Hello World, and it was for the month of May, having small businesses in this shop unit in Oxford Street from Monday to Thursday for small businesses who wouldn't necessarily get the opportunity to have a space of their own. So it was like a reduced fee, but you had to send an application in. So I sent the application form in, not thinking I'd hear back from them, because there were so many. I think they said they had like I think it was like 10,000 or something ridiculous. Like people applied for these like 47 spaces or something like that. But
it's a massive achievement. Then congratulations!
Yes,
wow,
thank you very much.
Yeah.
So they got in touch with me beginning of April, I think it was, beginning of April, to say that I'd got this space on the 17th, and that if I wanted to still carry on, and so I did, and and it was completely different. It was like I really had to like elevate myself in terms of like what I was offering, so because it had like this big video wall, and I hadn't had any official like videography for my business or anything like that, so I got a video made, and we spent 3 days filming and about 200 hours like editing it, and
fun.
and all this sort of stuff. So to go on there, and so I've got that now for forever now, to have as like bits for
promo,
to have promo and ads and things like that. But it all stemmed from having this, and it's like those opportunities that make you push yourself to do more and to do better, because I don't think, like, I've always thought to myself, I really need a video, but because it's like quite an investment, I've always like put it on the back burner. But like now, but obviously here I needed to have it, but now I've got it, I don't have to worry about it now in the future. And it's also really good to like just to send to potential people, especially if they're not in Peterborough, that I can just pop in and talk to them. I could just send them like my YouTube link and just say, here's my video, this is everything about the business. If you want to collaborate, if you want to find out more, then get in touch, rather than
is it on YouTube, your video?
It is.
How can you find your video?
It's not particularly linked, so you can find it so easily, but I'll put a link on my website so everyone can have a look at it.
Very good. And then and are you now going to, as a result of the pop-up shop, are you now moving towards a hybrid model whereby you're selling online and offline?
Yes, so from this pop-up on Oxford Street, next week I'm going to be at Seven Dials Market in London.
Very good.
So I've never been in London with my business, and I end up being there twice in 2 weeks. But so it's just the market just off Covent Garden, and I'm there for the entire week, so from Monday to Sunday. Ideally, that's kind of like, I miss like doing face-to-face events, because I really like speaking to people, and you get reactions right then and there, like about what again, like you were saying about like the concerns and the overcoming the objections and things like that, which you wouldn't get if somebody comes onto your website and then just leaves, because you can't speak to them. So so the idea would be to have like the opportunity, maybe like once a month, to go to like certain places and have like an event there, and as well as having
That's amazing. So in Covent Garden next week for 5 days, did you say?
For seven days, Monday to Sunday,
Amazing.
So in Seven Dials Market,
Wow, I'm really looking forward to hearing more about that. And what's the response been to your products, Taz? I know you've described your product as being consciously sourced. You've touched on that during the interview as well. Tell us a little bit more about the tea-related products. Them being consciously sourced, the product range as well. So consciously sourced means that
all the teas that I sell are from suppliers that are either classed as a social enterprise, which means they give their profits back to farming regions to get, to improve the lives of workers and their families, and in educational projects and things like that, or those who are part of the Ethical Tea Partnership. Because like coffee, teas has got quite a bad reputation in terms of like workers' rights and their welfare, and the Ethical Tea Partnership makes sure that not only are those like standards of living and standards of pay met, it's also in terms of environmental practices and sustainability and those sorts of things that are like really key and like quite a major part of like the reason why I started my business. So people are really love the different varieties of tea that I have. I have 20 generally on as like a standard range, and then I have like limited edition ones.
And you've got some interesting ones there as well. I saw blood orange, pumpkin spice.
Yes, but blood orange is one of my best sellers. Yeah, right. Pumpkin spices. Yeah, so so those are the teas, and then they're all packaged in biodegradable bags. Everything's so like the labels are printed on FSC paper, and they're all recyclable. So it's like all these little things to try and be better and like do better and
eco-friendly decisions.
And that's what customers are asking for now, and that's what we as businesses should be doing. And in terms of my embroidery kits, they are all designed by women artists based in the UK. So this range has been designed by an artist in Lincoln. They're all hand drawn and then printed in full colour, and they're on organic calico fabric.
Wow.
All the kits, all the parts in the kit are sourced from businesses based in the UK, and all the branding and all the labels are done by a local Peterborough business, Paper Rhino, based at the Alia Centre, and they do all my branding for my business. So that's all. So it's all trying to get as many small and co-op style businesses involved to just produce like a real nice range of products that everyone hopefully loves. So
that is so fascinating, Taz. That's really good. So your business really has sustainability at the core, and you've made some really conscious eco-friendly decisions, haven't you, in terms of packaging, the people that you work with, the people that you collaborate with, and really involving the local community. So you've actually formed a really nice community there as well, haven't you, of businesses that could help one another. That's really fascinating. And the ideas behind your embroidery kits, do you do embroidery yourself as well?
I always have done. Cross stitch was mainly it was when I started when I was younger, because it's a lot easier to start with. But I've took up embroidery about too many years ago, probably about 15 years ago. But a lot of the kits that I found were like quite old-fashioned, or a lot of them were they just gave you the pattern, for example, and there's a lot of messing about of trying to get the pattern onto the fabric, and then you had to go get all the threads and all this sort of stuff. And it's okay if you've been embroidering for a long time that you might have your own like secret stash of equipment, but if you're new, if you just want to gift a kit, for example, you couldn't do that. So trying to put something that's a bit modern, a bit more accessible to people in terms of you can stitch as much or as little as you want of the designs, and they won't look unfinished, for example. So you can stitch just the outline, you can stitch the whole thing, or you could just frame the fabric if you wanted completely unstitched as like a piece of artwork, and that's what it's trying to be, and that's the same with the tea. It's trying to be accessible to everybody.
And I find the size quite interesting as well, because it's a good size that you can just hold in your hand, and as you say, have a cup of tea, watch your telly. As opposed,
exactly.
because otherwise normally when you're sewing you need a whole station, don't you? So,
exactly. And if they're like big if they're big like samplers and things like that, and and if you've just started and you're just looking at it and it's going to take you like 6 months to finish, it's hard to try and fit that in. These are like you can make them as detailed or as easy as you want them to, and
and work independently
really
as well. You don't have to have
definitely.
You don't need a team of different people doing different parts of it.
No, exactly.
That's really. So, do you think? How did the COVID pandemic and sort of most of 2020? How did that fuel further creativity in your business?
So it was. It was it really helped my business get out there in terms of, obviously everyone was at home and just searching online. So in terms of, I was nervous because obviously I had all these events booked for the entire year, and including right up till December, and then they just got shut down, and so I was like, oh, okay. So luckily, obviously, I'd had my website and everything up and running. But over the particularly March, April, and May, there was like a surge in sales, which I was very thankful for, and it was from new people as well as existing customers who would come to visit me at events or anything like that. But continue to keep supporting me and buying through me. But that's when I released my embroidery kits as well in the middle of it was in like September time of last year.
Oh, did you? Right. Okay.
Yeah, because I was, so they were a long time in development, mainly my fault more than anything, but why they took so long. But so they all got released last year. So it was like a big surge in terms of like making sure that, because they all sit together really well in terms of making time for yourself and having space and, taking time to relax away from, just being in your desk at home, and then, it being your bedroom or it being your kitchen as well. And, it's all the mental health crisis that we've got at the minute is all, it's all just trying to just make sure people are taking that time out and understanding that, stopping and just relaxing is not a sign of weakness or anything like that. And it's just, it's all just trying to just feed into the whole, taking some time out, relaxing, having, if you're on your own, that's fine. But a lot of people that have bought my kits or tea have been doing like Zoom calls, and all they've had just like their camera on their computer, and they've just been sat there with their friend, like sometimes in silence, just sewing and just drinking tea, just trying to connect with people. And it's just making sure you have that time for yourself, and understanding that we all need a break sometime, and it's valid to take that time out, and it's not anything to be it's needed. It's not just because I think I should have it. Everyone needs that time.
Yeah. And then where do you see your business going in the future, Taz? Are you bringing different types of embroidery kits? Or can we expect more variety in tea, your networking? What can we expect?
Yes. So the plan is that the embroidery kits will continue to grow in terms of patterns, and hopefully I'll be able to get some like more different like crafting type things. So I really want to do like a range of like cross stitches, patterns, and those sorts of things. And in terms of the tea, there'll definitely be a range like that. There's definitely going to be a bit of a shake up and with what I'm offering, and different flavors and different blends, and a few more interesting ones that not many people would have heard of or if ever. So that's the idea, and and just hopefully just trying to just get out there a bit more and go into events and meeting new people in all these different places. And just getting out there and just connecting with people.
Yeah, now's the time, isn't it? We're all coming out, so we're feeling. And what about? Do you do sort of seasonal things as well? Will you be, as as summer's coming? Do you do different things for the different seasons? Christmas over?
Yeah, so a lot of my teas are really good for like iced teas. So I've got recipes for those, but then I'll be releasing recipes like on my socials for those, and for like Christmas ones, and and all those sorts of things. So there's there's lots of things that are coming. Too many ideas, probably. That's why I need to start planning properly. Yes.
And probably growing as well. So you have you considered? Are you going to be growing a team to help you with all the? Because if you're networking, marketing most of the time, how are you going to enlist some other help from a team?
So hopefully I've signed up for the government Kickstart scheme, where businesses are able to have somebody come and work with them for 6 months, if that person's under 24 and on universal credit. So I've signed up for that scheme. I'm just waiting to hear back if I'm eligible, and when I hopefully can get that person. I'm hoping they can come like August time, so that helped me during my Christmas rush. But they'll be able to gain skills in all aspects of my business. From admin to packing orders to social media to all these sorts of things. So that'll give them like a real rounded experience. That they probably wouldn't get with a larger business.
Fabulous, Taz. We're running out of time. What would you say to people that are listening to you, Taz? What kind of inspirational words can you leave them with?
So if you're looking to start a business, like now is the best time to do it. Like you would have wished you started now in 6 months' time if you hadn't started, if that makes sense. So there's no shame if it goes wrong, or don't be afraid to speak about it.
Thank you. We're running out of time, Taz. Thank you so much.
That's okay.
Taz J with us. Do listen back if you've just joined us. Take care and see you next week. Thank you, Taz. Bye bye.
Thank you then. Bye.